So have you guys tried the last day's program? Please use the chat box. Did you try the last day's program? Am I audible? So did you guys have given an attempt to try the last day program, or you are yet still waiting to try? Silence means I should assume that you have not tried. Some of you probably might have did attempted, but most of the people are just silent, so I will assume you have not tried. Guys, try to quickly do it as soon as possible, because this is no theoretical subject and you will not be in a position to learn unless and until you really attempt it and do it on your machines. So try to do it, because most probably on Monday I will give you an assignment, and that will be typically a coding assignment that you have to do on your own individually and submit based on JDBC, whatever we have learned so far. So chances are that I will give you on Monday or Tuesday, I will give you the assignment, so you will have to do it. So start doing it as fast as you can. So let's start with the today's session. Any doubts till the yesterday or the last class? This is the code that we have discussed, and we have attempted to run this code in both a console application as well as web application, and we have seen the differences as well. So you must also try this code for you must try this code for both both the type of applications on your machines. So any doubts? Okay, let me ask a few questions just to check whether you have been working or not. What does this method rs.next do in this code? The method rs.next, what does this method is basically meant for? You can type the answer in the chat box. Okay, a lot of people are saying it moves the cursor forward one row from its current position in the result set. That's correct, but it has got a dual purpose. Remember, this rs.next method, if you just have a look at the signature of this rs.next method, it is going to return you a boolean value. That means not only does it increments its cursor to the next row if there is, it also returns true and false. And if it returns true, that means you have the next record and it has iterated over here, over that record. And if it returns false, that means there is no record. You have already reached to the last record of the result set, and you cannot move further, so it will return false, so that your loop basically ends, your iteration ends. So rs.next has got two purposes. One is it tells you with a boolean return type that whether there is any record more left in the result set to proceed further to the next record or not, and then if there is a record available, it will make a shift to the next record for the cursor to point. Okay. So whenever if someone asks you, you have to tell these both the two purposes, and then okay, we have got result set dot get string with the index position 1, 2, 3. What is the other possible way that I can get the element without using the index position? I want you to replace this by name. Okay, fine, by name, by column name. Okay, you can mention the column name. So for that you always have to look over basically to the database structure. So even if you just have a select option, you can see serial number, domain number, you can use any of them to basically fetch the column values individually. Instead of specifying the index value, you can specify the name. So do you think is there any other method available apart from say rs.getString and the name of the column, or rs.getInteger the name of the column? Is there any other method which is which could do the same thing for you without getting into the technicality of the data type that we are using? See, one thing was demonstrated, that if the data type, let it be any data type, if we want to get a string out of it, so even if the data type is integer in the database, and we do result set dot get a string, we get the result, because everything could be converted into a formal string. But suppose if a data type is varchar, that is basically representing a string value or variable number of characters, so in that case we cannot say rs dot get integer or get float or get boolean, any other data type, so that will not be compatibly converted, so that's not possible. So still we are whether we use the index position or whether we use the overloaded version, which provides you with the flexibility of using the name of the column as a string value to specify which column you want to access. We are still into the situation that we need to mention the data type correctly with certain limitations. So is there any possible way, did you see that we should not be burdened for telling the data type as well, and just either the index name or the basically the column name should suffice? Any ideas, guys? Yes, Rajdeep, I told you that get strings works every time, but the opposite is something which is not possible. So if you get a string is something you can always use, but still, is there any other possibility, any other method that you can see? Just what you can do is you can just type the rs, the result set variable name, and then put a dot operator and control space and see what other methods similar to this methods are available, and if you can just let me know, is there any other method which can do the same purpose? Get array, yes, get array can give you the complete array. That's one option. Anything else? But the array is also typically, you will have to, I think, I have not seen the method but signature, but it must be restricting you to one data type, say string. Get blob is of course for a larger set of data which requires a lot of space, so I will not favor get blob. Anything else? Anuj Razan is asking, please repeat the question. What I'm saying, Anuj, is just like we have result set dot get string or get integer methods, and these integer and these methods basically works on both the index and the column name. Anything could be passed and we get the result. So but still we need to tell the data type, whether it's a string, it's a integer, or something else. Can we have any method which can get away from this requirement of uh, mentioning the data structure? Yes, Rajdeep has got that correctly. It's get object. So you have another option, and if I try to use rs dot get, I will see get object, and here you can see both the versions, integer column index as well as string column name. So that is going to return you in the form of object, and when you get it in the form of object, that means even though it's an integer value, you will get the result in the form of the wrapper class instance, that is integer. Even the value is int, you will get it in the form of a wrapper class instance, that is integer. Because the Windows, the Java boxing and unboxing facility was added in Java 5 itself. So even though if you want to use it as a primitive type, it doesn't bothers you. But this has an option that you directly get a wrapper class instance. So if you intend to use into a collection, you can directly get it, and you need not any kind of conversion, whether done by you explicitly or by the auto boxing feature of the Java itself. So you reduce technically you reduce a step of the JVM. So get object method is there. This also works the same way. Here another get object method, if you can see, this says it takes a column index as well as class type, and for the similar overloaded version, similarly you will get for string column label and class type. This is basically when you get the object, you will have to basically cast it back. So this doesn't basically this even is the call that you specify the class type. For example, if you use get object int column name say 1, and we know that in our database, the student database, column number 1 is a integer value which is a serial number. So I can say the class type as integer, integer, integer. So if I mention that class type as integer, so it is already it will be intrinsically casted and return you back in the form of integer, because you can see t appears as the return type, and t basically means a generic. So whatever type you have mentioned, that type will be returned, provided you have mentioned the correct type, otherwise you will get the class cast exception. So that's a bit more of a technical thing, but because we are into advanced Java, and if we know things in detail, it will be of much help, because that will help you to compete in this difficult time. And for this year, I think we will have more difficult time in the coming this year and the next year, possibly because the campus recruitment will also be sealed almost. The companies will be taking very little freshers, because of the current economic condition due to COVID. So Piyush is asking, won't we have to use object to string? I believe you are asking this question in the context of get object method. So see, you can always use object.toString, but object.toString if invoked on object, whereas the real object is anything else. So the toString method of the overloaded object takes takes the control. So if it is string or any wrapper classes integer, it will work. Of course, it will work. It should work rather. I have not tried, but it should work. But it's like you are writing too many steps for doing something for which you have already got just a single step. where in the method call itself you can specify either the column index and the column name as well as the name of the class that you want to cast into. So when you get the type of the class, you can directly go ahead with it and you can use it to print. So basically, when you print a value of a variable which belongs to the toString class, which refers to object of a toString class or a wrapper class, internally itself is calling the toString method. So that should not be required explicitly to be done. Do you agree, Piyush? Okay. Now let's move on. Okay. So see, till now we have seen the statement where we have written the SQL statement which was of of the type select. So I say select from country or select from some other table and I get the result. I can also put a where clause to restrict the number of rows written, such that say select star from students where course is equal to BTech. So I will get a restricted number of results in the result set data structure or the reference variable of the result set that it holds. Just hold on. So but we have not tried any update statement. So basically as you must be familiar from your database classes, the SQL statements are divided into many types. Something is called as the DDL statement, that is data definition language. So that means if you use create table or delete table or basically make any changes to the table, any statement which is of this kind of nature, that comes into the DDL statement. And then the rest which does work with the data, they all come under the DML statement. So if you talk about select, if you talk about insert, if you talk about update, if you talk about delete, where delete is meant for the deletion of the data, so they are in general they are categorized as DML. But as you can see that select is something which is not doing the data manipulation. It is just to get the data, it's just to read the data, it's not doing the data manipulation. So people have categorized, some people they have categorized it into DML itself, but that doesn't seems to be very convincible or very convincing. So later some other people also they say, okay, we break the DML into two parts. One is DQL, data query language. So DQL contains only the select statement, just all alone the select statement, and the DML is left with update, delete, or insert statements. So if we go by that theory, that the statements that we write are of two types in nature. One is the query, that is the select. I'm asking something from the database. I'm trying to not doing any operation, any manipulation, but I'm just asking something what it has got in the database. So let me say it's query, that is data query language that comes under DQL. And then I say when I am manipulating anything, that means I am using any of the DML statements like insert, delete, or update. I say it's basically an update statement. An insert statement fired also affect the state of the database. It updates it. Okay, so it manipulates data in some way. An update statement is basically meant for the same purpose. Basically delete statement which deletes the data on certain conditions, that is also meant for the same purpose. So for the execution of a query or execution of a data query language statement, that is select in particular, and that is the one only, we use the execute query method, right? But if you want to run any of the data manipulation language statement, now because I have bifurcated into two parts, I have separated it from the select query. Data manipulation language statement will be only insert, update and delete now from now on. So I cannot use the execute query method anymore. Why? Because the execute query method returns a result set. So result set basically contains all the records that I am asking for. But in our case, when we have updated the state of the database, I will be more interested to know how many records have been affected, instead of what all records have been affected. So in that case, the statement that I must use is not a select query, rather a execute query, rather a execute update method. Okay, so let me replace this query. Just hold on, let me see if there are any doubts till now. Everything is okay. Am I audible? Okay, so we proceed further. So suppose I want to insert a new record. Okay, so let me say I want to insert a record with serial number 9 and with some enrollment number with a name, say Piyush, and then the age, say 28 for example. The course is BTech, and the semester is, say for example, 4th. So this is the query I want to insert. So I am doing it from the workbench, and whatever I do from the workbench, the same statement, basically it will be translated, this action will be translated to a SQL statement, and the same statement I can use for my Java code as well. So as soon as I say apply, I will see a statement generated, a SQL statement generated. Insert into Jamia Hamdard, which is the name of the database, dot students, which is the name of the table, and then serial number, enrollment number, name, age, course and semester. These are the fields, and values. 9 is the serial number, then the enrollment number, then the name, then the age, and then this course, the values of the course and the value of the semester, everything over there. So let me say that I just want to copy it to be used for the next time, and I apply it. Okay, so till now we have inserted 9 records, right? Now let me go back to my query, and I paste the same thing over here. Insert into Jamia Hamdard dot students. Okay, I have two options. Basically, when I write a query, I can directly say the name of the table, and Jamia Hamdard could be skipped because I have already mentioned Jamia Hamdard over here. Now that should be correct, right? So I have already made a correction with the Jamia Hamdard over here. So I can skip writing Jamia Hamdard. I can just use the student, but let it be there. Okay. The other thing is that I can skip these names on what the field names on which the following values are mapped. Okay, I can skip these names as soon as I am providing all the values in the sequential order, in the right order, as well as I am not skipping any values. So that is possible. And if I intend to skip any values, say for example, if I do not want to enter all the 6 columns, maybe one of the columns is permittable to be null, then in that case I will write the name of 5 columns and I will provide the 5 values. In that case I will need both these mapping. One is the name of the column as well as the actual values that I pass. But if I just want to insert all the values in all the columns, and I'm doing it in the same sequential order which is required, then I can safely, you know, skip this particular portion of the statement. But again, let it be there. I am not going into changing the query. Yeah, value I have to change because the serial number is a unique key, and till now 9 records have been, you know, inserted. If I try to insert the 9th record again, then I will get the unique key problem and I will get exception, a runtime exception. So let me change some other values as well, although not required technically. So this is the statement that I want to execute. This is the insert statement, and it's a DML, that means of the nature of the update. But now update basically returns it. I am still getting a compilation error. The string literal is not properly close the char. There is some problem with the statement itself. So let me see. Okay. There is a problem here. Okay, I think it should be good enough. No. Okay. The compilation error, let's see. Type mismatch here, you know, I mean the SQL query is correct, and I don't know about the SQL query, the correctness of the SQL query, but at least whatever I have written in the form of a string, that is matching the string format, so that is correct. Type mismatch cannot convert from integer to result. So execute update is something, it is not meant to give you a result set, and what I am receiving is the return of this particular method is in the RS variable, which is typically a result set. So I must change from result set to integer value, because this execute update, it is going to give me the number of records or number of rows which are affected. So let me say all I have got is integer. Records affected. So basically for insert query like this, I will definitely, you know, get a single record which is affected. For any other statement like an update statement, I might get a different number of records which are affected, like 2 records or 3 records or whatever. So we will try that also. So let me comment out this line, this particular block of code as of now. Source, add block comment. Okay, so let's try it out. And once the result is written, I am also interested in printing the value of how many records are impacted. So let me say system.println, and then I will say the number of records affected, or the number of rows affected, you can say, that typically you get from the workbench. The message is equal to, and then I will concatenate it with the value of record affected. Let's see if it works. I am getting an exception in thread main. The number of records rows affected is 1. Okay, so that is correct. So 1 record has been affected, yani 1 record must have been inserted. Let's go to the database and see if 9 has been changed to 10. I will refresh it and see 1 record has been affected, but still let's figure out what is the exception that I am getting. Can someone give me a hint what could be the possible reason for this null pointer exception? What should I do to figure it out? Okay, it's saying me that it's in the line number 60 of test connection basic.java in the main method. So let me go to that particular line, and it's complaining about rs.close because I have not used the result set object. I have not even created the result set of I have not initialized the result set object. It's still pointing to null, and because I have replaced the execute query from execute update, so I am not getting any result set object. So that means trying to close the result set object will give me an issue. So let me not do it. Let me just comment it out, and then let me try this statement again, say this time with the value 11. I will keep the rest of the values the same because they are not the unique keys. And let's see, the number of records or rows affected is equal to 1. With me, guys? Can you show the code? Okay, see, Rajiv, this was the code, and as you can see, earlier this was execute query method that I was using to fire a select statement. Now because that has been replaced by execute update method, which fires an insert statement, and this method typically returns an integer value that basically tells you the number of records which are, or number of rows which are impacted. So the return type result set is replaced by integer value records affected, and initially the result set which I have declared over here was pointing to null because I have not used it I have not used at this particular point. It will be used only when I call a execute query method. So it remains null, and when it remains null, it is not initialized by a real object, a real result set. So in the finally block, as soon as I try to close it, result set dot close. So this is basically you are calling a method on a reference variable which is pointing to null, so you get a null pointer exception, right? So that was the reason. So I just commented out this this line. Statement and connections are still used, so they will be closed successfully. Any other doubts, any other questions till now? No? Okay, so let's move ahead. So now let's try execute update method for instead of inserting, let's try it to basically let me comment it out so that it remains there, and I will just copy it for the next experiment. Now I will change it to update. I want to change it to update. So instead of typing it, let's go with a very shortcut way, an easier way. I want to update this record, or rather this record, the record with serial number 9, and I want to change the age of Piyush from 28 to, say, for example, 27. Okay, so here, because it is visible, I will just go and say 27, but just doing that doesn't mean that the database has been affected. I will have to say apply over here, and as soon as I say apply, see, every action whatever you want to do with the workbench which is supported by a visual support, that will in background necessarily fire a SQL statement. So that is the right way. If you use a shell or a command prompt to do, and this is actually being done over here also. So it says update Jamia Hamza dot student set age is equal to 27 where serial number is equal to 9. Control C, and I say apply, finish, and then you say this record 9 is the age has been changed, right? Now let's try to do the same thing with record number 10. I want to change the course of Rajiv from BTech to BCA. Let's promote him from BTech to MTech. Okay, and we will okay, let's keep the rest of the code as same, the statement as same. So let's say update Jamia Hamza dot students set age is equal to 27 where serial number is equal to 9. So I want it to be 10 this time. I want to change the course, so I will say course to a string value, say MTech, and let's try to fire, and then I am printing how many rows are affected, and let's see. The number of records or rows affected is equal to 1. So let's go and see for record number 10. It's showing BTech still, and let me refresh it, and you will see it has changed to MTech. Now what I want to do is I want to change say for example all the courses which are MTech to, say for example MSc in computer science, MSc engineering for example. So I will go again, and now I will say update Jamia Hamza students set course is equal to MSc engineering. This was the name earlier, basically most of the universities used for MTech courses. So MSc engineering, where now what should I write here? Course is equal to MTech. So just have a look at this query and let me know if it's valid or not. Anuj Goyal, is it okay? Is it valid, or do you think there is some error in this? Anuj Goyal, am I audible? Hello, Anuj Goyal.
Yes, sir.
Is it okay? Is this query okay?
Sir, I'm looking. Wait.
Okay, just let me know in the chat box. Rest of the people, what do you think? Is there any issue with the query, or is everything is okay? So while you have got not valid, Anuj Razan, okay, Anuj Razan, what is the problem with the query? Anuj Goel says it's okay, okay. Anuj Razan, do you see any problem? Set course, set course equals to MSc Engineering. Just give me the full statement, full SQL statement. That should be the correct one. Do you mean I am repeating the course twice? Course should not be in braces. Why? Okay, let's do one thing, let's try it, okay, and if let's see what happens. So let's just quickly run it, and you see the number of records or rows affected is equal to 4. So it doesn't matter basically, Anuj Razan. So see, if you have a double string outside for the whole statement, then you will have to either use the single character you know, this what we say it, the single quotes, or you will have to use the escape sequence, one of the two. So it says we have got 4 records affected. Let's go into the database and check what are the 4 records which are affected. So we have got MTech at record serial number 5, 6 and 7, and MTech at record serial number 10. Let's refresh it, and everything has changed to MSc Engineering. You can just, you know, now it is more visible. So so far so good. Okay, now we have done with update. Now let's try with the delete option. So the same way I am going to get the shortcut. For example, I want to delete this row number 9. Okay, so I will say if I have got a delete option over here or not. Let me see. Edit. Let me say right click, delete row. Okay, I have got here delete rows. It has been replaced, but actually the state of the database has not been, you know, committed until I say apply, because the query needs to be fired. I mean the statement needs to be, SQL statement must be, you know, fired. So it says delete from Jamia Hamdard dot students where serial number is equal to 9, and you know that you should be very much cautious with the delete statement, and always use a where clause, otherwise you may end up, you know, deleting every record. So I say apply, and this is actually gone. Now let me try to use the same statement with some other serial number. Let me say delete from Jamia Hamdard dot students, where this time let me use only students. I don't need to require to write Jamia Hamdard every time. So let me see delete from students where serial number is 9. So say for example I want to fire a query which can affect multiple records. So let me say where I am not interested about serial number, I want to delete everything which is say for example in the semester, say fourth semester, I want every record with the 4th semester. So the column name is semester, so I will say where semester is equal to 4. Okay, so let's try to execute this statement, and it says the number of records affected are 2. So the 2 records which are affected, these are the 2 records, the record with serial number 7 and serial number 8. I will have to, of course, click on the refresh button to see the effect. Okay, any doubts so forth? Piyush Batra is asking, can we execute the DCL commands using execute update, or do we use some other method? DCL command, okay. I have not tried the DCL command from the update execute update method, and the reason you will never in fact try to use the DCL command is basically as a developer you will never get the right to basically manipulate uh, the permissions, like you want to grant a permission to a user or you want to revoke a permission. All you get is a username and the password, and whatever permission for that username has been given, that should not be under your control. So this is a natural business reason you will not get it, but still you can always I believe you can basically write a statement which can include the DCL commands, and just hold on for a second. Okay, let's try one of the DCL uh, statement, and let's see if it works with SQL update. Okay, let's see the what is the Java doc says. SQL in the given SQL statement, which may be an insert, update, or delete statement, or an SQL statement that returns nothing, such as an SQL DDL statement, data definition language. Mm. So it doesn't say anything about whether SQL update could be used for DCL or not, but let's try. But even though if SQL update is not capable of doing it, there is another method. SQL method is there that will be in position to basically deal with the same. Let's try. It's a interesting question, so let's try. I have got the user root to which I have connected, and it has got all the rights. So I want to revoke certain rights. Say for example, I want to fire a query like revoke the delete right, the delete permission, revoke, or rather let's say update one, update rights. I cannot use update statement on the table name. Let's see, students. Okay, and I think I will have to pass it out to another user as well. Root. Let me see if I have got another user. This should have just this much. I think I am writing something wrong. Should be from okay. It says there is no such grant defined for user root on host on table students because root is super user kind of thing. So let's see, tester. If there is not any grant like that, then we can assign something like, let's say, let's grant it the rights. Let's see what happens. Tester from students. So probably the query that I'm writing is having some problem. Grant update on students from tester. Let's try to search the syntax of um, DCL statement. No, Neil Chauhan, as he says, I guess the database won't allow the external lab to make the permission. I believe it will allow because you have got application written where you have got a role of administrator, and the administrator should be in a position to basically restrict the rights for the resources, and database also comes under the same rights. So it should be possible. I think Rajdeep is correct. SQL should work, but because the documentation, yeah, SQL is always not a good practice. That I will we can discuss why it is not a good practice. It gives us a flexibility, but it's not a good practice. We will discuss the SQL statement as well. Um, but because the documentation in this JDBC doesn't is silent on, basically we can use the update statement execute update method for this purpose or not. So that is something which we need to try out and figure out. Let me see if I can use JDBC code example. Execute update for grant. Let's see if we get anything or not. Let's see whether we are using the syntax of grant correctly or not. Grant SQL syntax. Okay, we were mentioning the table name, probably this is wrong. Grant create table to testing. So let's see, grant update table to tester. Table to tester. Update Anyways, there is a problem with the syntax of the statement, the SQL statement. We have to what is the grant update on instance to tester at localhost. Possibly, let's try this. Let's try this. It could be the right syntax because it is also talking about the localhost. But it's not it was not complaining about the type of the statement that I'm trying to execute, but rather it was giving some other errors. So I believe this should be possible. This should be possible from the update as well. You have an error in your SQL syntax. Tester at localhost. Now still we are getting some syntax error. So possibly what I believe is I will check it. I will check it, and I will insist you guys also to Google it, and figure it out. So such are a unique kind of problems, and if we are stuck into it, we must be encouraged to figure it out. So what I believe, it is not giving me an error that says that you cannot apply the grant statement or the revoke statement in the execute update method. So rather it's complaining about the syntax, or sometimes it is complaining about the rights, or sometimes it is complaining that this particular user has have not been granted any rights and you are trying to revoke anything out of it. So the only thing that makes sense to me, that possibly the execute update method should be in a position to fire a statement which is of this nature. Whereas anyways, execute is something which I believe if we write the syntax correctly, it should basically do the same for me. So we will try it out, and I will also insist you guys to try it out, and so whosoever comes first with the solution, he must get some benefit out of it, and so you must complete for it. So I urge you to find the solution for this, and whosoever is going to be the first respondent to me on WhatsApp in the group. So if you find the solution for it and you update it in your respective group, so whosoever is the first from both the groups, that one is going to get some extra benefit in terms of say assessment, internal assessment or something. Okay, and if you are not able to do it, of course I will figure it out for you. Okay guys, okay, so the problem is clear. We have to use either grant or revoke statement. First we will have to figure out whether it works on the update this execute update method or not, and if it doesn't apply to this particular method, then we have to find another way to basically execute it. But it's for sure that this should be possible to do it from the application, because everything is possible and we have application which do this, right? So as of now, let's wind up the class for today, and then we will start we will move on to the next topic from the JDBC on tomorrow class at 3:30 at the same time. And just to remind you that on either on Monday or Tuesday, depending upon how much we have covered, we will be having assignment lecture, and I will give you certain assignment. I will explain you about it, and that will be a coding assignments, and you will have to do it on your own. I will make some provisions in the statement itself, problem statement itself, so that you should have a minimum chances of copying from each other. So start studying right from today. So we are dropping as of now. You can log off. Thank you guys.